All right, Kiki Chord. It's my baby chat. For people that aren't old Magic boomers, Kiki Chord is a deck because Kiki-Jiki Mirrorbreaker here creates token copies of things with haste. And when you pair this with Restoration Angel, you make an unlimited number of 3/4 flying haste creatures that can kill your opponent with a 2-card combo. This deck got a solid upgrade from Modern Horizons 2 and Solitude. This deck always struggled with how much main deck interaction it wanted to play. You know, I've played Path to Exiles and Lightning Helixes and Lightning Bolts, and like, you want to have a touch of interaction in this archetype, but you never really wanted to play dedicated removal that wasn't proactive. And Solitude kind of gives us the best of both worlds. It's a free removal spell when you get to pitch a card from your hand that synergizes with Ephemerate, Restoration Angel, and things like Charming Prince, which is really sweet. And then the rest of our deck is just kind of value cards. So if you haven't seen this deck play out before, this is a mid-range fair deck first and a combo deck second. So we're basically looking to be interactive with things like Skyclave and Solitude. We generate value with things like Seasoned Pyromancer, Wall of Blossoms, and Wall of Omens. And then occasionally, you know, if your opponent taps out and you have a window, you're like, okay, I'm going to use Chord of Calling to find my Kiki-Jiki and then combo with Restoration Angel to kill you on the spot. So basically, you play this kind of mid-rangey game plan while forcing your opponent to respect the fact that if they don't have interaction, or at least represent interaction, you're going to get to combo them in a lot of situations. So let's go ahead and dive on into a league with this. It was really sweet last week. This list is basically the changes we had at the end of the last league. Some small change in the sideboard. I'm electing to try Alpine Moon and Avalanche Riders today. We played Blood Moon last time, and I was kind of low on Blood Moon, so I want to see how these cards work out. Palacantino, thank you for the 39 months. Welcome back. Coolio, thanks for the third of a year. Demox, thanks for the 37 months. This doesn't look like historic. No, I actually think you're pretty wrong. I think the Magic Online client, in fact, looks very historic. In fact, I think if you were to look up historic software in the dictionary, there's a good chance you'll find a screenshot of Magic Online. Allow me to show you my noodle. Would you like to canoodle, opponent? I'm gonna put Yorion over here so I don't forget about it. I had a problem last time where I kept forgetting about my companion, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop that companion zone out. I think I keep this in the dark. Yes, Alpine Moon can name Urza Saga, which kills Urza Saga. Colony Garden. Oh no, are we about to get Warp Worlded, chat? It could be Titan too. This is good against Titan. It's actually decent against Warp World too, because they put an Eldrazi into play. We can get rid of it. I'm confused by your question, Ace. You're asking me, is there a way to send messages on the Arena client, and then you said you had someone sending you message. So the answer to your question is clearly yes. Yep, definitely the Yawgmoth's deck with the start here. Opponent's deck is playing Wall of Roots and Chord of Calling. Now the question is, do I want to cast Wall of Omens or hold it for a potential Solitude card to pitch? I think I want to play the Wall of Omens. Is Wall of Roots still bug? I assume. It's about how long I've been subbed. Yeah, January 2015. 2016? What year did colorless mana become not actually colorless anymore? Okay, so this thing makes a 1/1, sacrifices a creature to kill a creature. It's pretty good. I think it was 2015, right? So we're 6 years. I mean, this would be really good if they didn't have Doomblade sitting on board. As is, I think we loot through it. I think I'm gonna fetch my. Oh, I don't have a second Stomping Ground, do I? I have two Temple Gardens, one Stomp, one Sacred Foundry, I think. Guess we grab this. Might be wrong. I kind of want green. Maybe, yeah, I definitely want to keep Scavenging Ooze because their deck combos using the graveyard. I think I'm going to ditch Sunbaked Canyon and Magus the Moon here. We get an elemental that way at least. The Ephemerate's a decent pickup because it means we can cast the Solitude for free in the event they try and combo us. Honestly, it might be right to draw the Yorion so that way we can have Solitude plus Ephemerate with pitching the Yorion. And our mana lines up pretty elegantly here, so we'll get to. Oh, they just made everything a forest. Well, thank you, opponent. That makes my life significantly easier. All right. I am gonna go ahead and fetch forest with this one because I do want. I guess I could have put it on here in case something happens to this. I don't want to count on that as a way to do a thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. We'll name red now since everything makes green mana. We'll go ahead and draw the Storko, leaving up Ephemerate. So, Wall of Roots, last I checked, and maybe they fixed it, it's been a year or so since I've checked, is you can't activate Wall of Roots mana ability as a mana ability, which means that if you try to Chord of Calling with Wall of Roots, if you try to Chord of Calling with Wall of Roots, if you try to Chord with Wall of Roots while Wall of Roots is at 1 toughness, it can't make 2 mana for Chord. Okay, so sacrifice a creature, put a 1 counter on another target creature, and draw a card. So I think we let this happen. I don't have a Linvala in my 75, do I? Yeah, there's a good chance that's a mistake. I think we're just dead, right? Even with this, because this. Oh, I guess they're technically not infinite yet, right? They need a way to not get counters onto things. If their last card's Chord of Calling, they could go infinite though. They could also draw a Chord of Calling here. Oh no, this is infinite all on its own, right? Because they have the 2 undying things. right? Because this is the combo, right? I haven't played against this deck before, and I haven't thought about it in a long time. I don't think the Ephemerate screws them, right? Because they can sacrifice 1/1s to kill my Solitude. I believe we're dead because of the fact that they can sacrifice 1/1s to kill Solitude. Yeah, I should probably put a Linval in my 75. You should have exiled the undying creatures in response to Yawgmoth. Yes. Yes, that is what I should have done. I should have Solitude. I should have Solitude ephemerated, gotten rid of both the undying creatures in response to the Yawgmoth. Yes, that is good to point out. Thank you for pointing that out. Alright, so Endurance technically works. Magus the Moon would actually be useful here. Eidolon is not good. Collector Ouphe is not good. Helix seems fine. I don't know. Helix is better than anything else I currently have, right? Rest of these cards all seem decent. Yeah, so I should have Solituded, exiled the Gerald's Messenger, and then ephemerated it, exiled the Young Wolf, and then they would have killed my thing before I could ephemerate it the following turn, but they would have not been comboed on board at that point. Combo also only works if they have more life than you. That's good to know too. Gaining a little bit of life can be useful. That makes Helix more appealing. I don't know. Maybe Helix is supposed to come in because of that. Okay. Sweet. Fetch Temple Garden, play this. What's going on, Quarth? Thanks for 35 months. Yeah, I really hope that Teamer deck ends up being busted, so that way maybe people at Wizards of the Coast making the decisions can get the message that Time Warp wasn't the problem, it's all the other fucked up cards. Well, you didn't really miss much. We've been playing Magic for 10 minutes and we're down a game in our first match after making a mistake. After making a mistake by not understanding how our opponent's deck functioned. My deck's also misbuilt by one card because I don't have a Linvala for this matchup. That was an oversight on my part during deck construction. I am red with this, I think. I mean, just in general, Noel, if you're still here, I haven't closed the browser, like, this isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. So, like, if you ever find yourself not happy with a piece of content that I'm making or a game that I'm playing, feel free to just change tabs. You don't need to make an announcement in chat for everybody to let us know your displeasure with what's currently on your screen. Just change the channel. Let's do, when it deals combat damage to player, we put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Number 1 more 1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake with Death Touch. Cute. Okay, so this is getting a green source. Aimed red with this, right? Probably just another Temple Garden. I kind of like my hand. So I think we're just chilling on the Seasoned Pyromancer. I think it's just a Restoration Angel turn. Well, to be fair, Kuntz, the Time Warp decks were already playing 4 Memory Lapse. That's not new. So could have nothing, could also have a Chord for 2 here. Start by attacking for 3 and see what they do. Probably going to play a Skyclave Apparition here. You only get 1 band, you prefer Brainstorm or Lapse. It's probably Brainstorm. I'd prefer they get rid of them both, but if you make me pick only one, the correct answer is probably Brainstorm. So I'm going to Ephemerate this in response, I think. Just kind of pick apart their board here. Only 2 mana left over. I don't expect Time Warp to ever come back. It seemed like when they were talking about when they banned that card, they don't think that card will ever do anything healthy. Is Ephemerating Angel the technically correct play? Yeah, that's a good to point out. You're correct. Ephemerating Angel there is definitely optimal. And the draw, especially Magus the Moon, gets worse. These helixes get better. Need 1 Shrim if I want to fit these helixes in. Is Endurance actually that good here? I guess it snakes the Undying creatures out of their bin, right? Yeah, trim a Season Boy. Matchup's not really grindy, it's more about having the right interaction. I don't believe in trying to predict what Wizards of the Coast will do in terms of decision making. Tends to be a fool's errand. It's fine. Not super proactive, but plenty interactive. Mulligan to 6. You want to play this in paper? I mean, it's expensive online too. I think my MTGO Traders order is like $820 for these 95 cards. I can't even imagine what it costs in paper. Probably well over $1,000. You're playing the free evoke spells. How many cards your deck should have of that color? Well, that depends. Is your deck 60 cards or is your deck 80 cards? With 60 cards, you should be like 19 to 20. With 80 cards, you should be 25 to 26. But Yorion also muddles the math a little bit because Yorion, what's the word that I'm searching for? Yorion is a white card that we can draw for free. Oh, you know what? This should have just been That was a mistake. I keep forgetting. I'm not used to having a Triome. This definitely should have been the Jeskai Triome. I was fetching attempt anyways. I mean, generally speaking, Magic cards don't go down in price. You think prior to rolling the anthology out, they predicted which card would need to ban, and they went ahead and banned and planned instead of? I don't understand. I mean, I just might be early right now, but I'm not understanding what you're asking me. LBB, thanks for the quarter of year. Welcome back. All right, so they can Chord for 3 here. They get Gerald's Messenger. We'll just path it. Do this now, so they can't sacrifice it in response or any sort of thing. Using the path instead of the Helix here also means next turn I can shock in Breeding Pool and Witness pick back up Path to Exile. Okay. And then I think I just kill this while they're tapped out again, right? We just like shock. Can I die next turn with them having 2 cards? I don't think I can die from them only having 2 cards here, right? I'm not super familiar with their deck. Let's find out. But I don't want them to like Chord for Yawgmoth in response to me Path to Exiling and like get me here. Oh, they can if they get lucky with Yawg. Sure. So they could like, they can't do it with just 2 cards, but they could play a Yawgmoth and then draw into multiple cards that end up with me dying because they can sacrifice their creatures they already have in play. That makes sense. Whoa, this is gross. Yeah, we're dead, right? We're dead? Am I dead? I'm not dead yet, really? Oh, because they can't, wait. I thought, yeah, they messed up, right? They needed to sacrifice this to put a minus counter on this. Oh, they might have misclicked too, yeah. That was an interface error on their part, right? Well, they don't need a Blood Artist because this one does 2 to me, right? Oh wait, they need 2. That was a good draw. They need 2 Undying things. Got it. Okay. So we weren't dead there even if they click right, but we'd be in a worse spot. Got it. Okay, and that's their third Geralt's Messenger. Need something to put a minus counter on that cancels out. Got it. Okay. I do still think I want a Linval in R75. I don't know why they played that. Maybe they forgot about the Ephemerate. Also, they must have forgotten about the Ephemerate, right? They didn't have lethal. They just also didn't take an optimal sequence. Is accurate. They should have sacked their plant to take the +1 counter off their messenger, and then sacked their messenger to kill my witness is what they should have done. And I would have been drained a little bit more, etc. These are a few of my favorite things. It definitely feels like we're the control deck in this matchup. Yeah, they would have been like +2 cards, right? I mean, they wouldn't have gone off that turn, right? They would have needed to draw exactly the wolf. They would have drawn a couple more cards though. They putting something else into play? A recording for some amount? Or Eldritch Revolutioning? Sure. No responses. What's the symbol on Skyclave? Summoning Sickness. And they say Magic Online doesn't have animations. Look at this swirl, chat. Look at this swirl and tell me Magic Online doesn't have animations. Smooth criminal with its animations right there. Like absolute butter. Exactly. Silky smooth. Swirl looks slower than my OG AOL login progress bar. Yep. Yeah, so unfortunately we can't make changes to my deck in between matches because Magic Online, but I do want a 4-mana Linvala in my sideboard probably for that matchup. I don't know what I cut offhand. Maybe it's a Helix or an Alpine Moon, but definitely want a Linvala to turn off their activated abilities. For the 2.5 years slow imp, welcome back. We lost a game due to not fully understanding their deck, and then they lost a game due to not fully understanding their deck, so I guess that's kind of a wash. That's good. It's a good way to put it. Moto still eats memory, right? Let's find out. One task manager, please. Magic Online is currently using 1.4 gigabytes of RAM. We'll check back in a match and see how it's doing. 1.4 GBs, chat. Can we get to 2 GBs? I have all of the GBs of RAM for you, Magic Online. It's mining Bitcoin in the background. Listen, Magic Online's been leaking memory since before Bitcoin existed, so... Oh, it's a Yorion Mirror match, chat. How much RAM does my computer have? The amount of RAM my computer has doesn't matter because Magic Online is a 32-bit application. Also, even if it was a 64-bit application, applications that leak memory become unwieldy, generally speaking, and slow, even if the computer does still have RAM left for it to access. But it's not a hardware limitation. My computer is currently using 13.2 out of 32 gigs of RAM. There's plenty of resources to go around, chat. It could be the Kiki-Mirror. There's a more popular red or black white deck going around. Like Aether Vial Wasteland Strangler type nonsense. We actually played against that archetype last week when we were playing Kiki Chord. I think this is fetching the Jeskai Triome. It's the third of a year, Ashen. I appreciate that. Prismatic Vista, eh? Your amount of RAM is irrelevant, so you could just download more. Big mood. Big mood. Could be a pseudo mirror. Glad we fetched blue because we drew my boy. Bant Soul Herder. Yeah, it's probably Soul Herder with Noble Hierarch on one, huh? Opponent deep in the tank over my Wall of Blossoms here. The deck command does not work for Boomer Magic. I will have the deck list in the video description on YouTube this evening. Hopefully they play something we can Skyclave here. Nice, nice. That counts. So I'm probably gonna resto this Skyclave at some point. So do I just Skyclave their mana dork to stunt their development? I think I do, huh? Oh, you're right. This is totally a Kiki Chord mirror. This is the person whose deck list I started with when we got back. I would bet significant dollars that this is a Kiki Chord mirror match. I definitely want to take their Noble Hierarch in that case. Do I want to Omnath? Feels like they're doing nothing this turn. They could be like Solituding plus Ephemerating. But even then, Omnath replaces himself, right? Seasoned Pyromancer in a matchup like this, we generally want to play it at the very end of our hand, so that way it can gas us back up, because it always draws 2 cards, even if we don't have anything to discard. I have really been enjoying the Modern we've played since we've come back. I would put the asterisk next to that. I've only played about 24 matches, though. So there's definitely some, do we... Okay, we might see Solitude, them try to resto Solitude here, in which case we'll Solitude their Solitude. Yo, dog. And then I'll get to Resto Skyclave the Restoration Angel here. I'll attack because my dojo doesn't contain fear. Rats. Opponent made the correct play. Silly opponents making good plays. Is Kiki card our barometer for the format? As long as a chord league per week feels good, we'll keep at it. Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate, Three Smith. Reasonable thing to say. Okay, so we Wooded Foothills, and then we Seasoned Boy. And then we could theoretically die next turn. You know, they could end step, resto, untap Kiki here. They didn't draw their Yorion, which tells me they potentially have something. I don't have anything that can play around anything, so I'm just gonna draw my noodle here and pass, and hope we get another turn. They can chord for 3 here, so we could see like a chord for Eternal Witness, pick chord back up. We could see a chord for a Skyclave of their own, exile my Restoration Angel. They can exile my Skyclave and get a 4/4. Yeah, chord for Witness, pick back up chord, sets them up to 1-card chord combo. So for people that aren't familiar with the Kiki chord archetype, what they can do now is they can chord for resto, blink the Witness, get chord back again, and then the following turn that sets them up to combo kill us. So we're technically dead next turn. Technically dead next turn. If I don't draw a piece of interaction or wait to kill them this turn. So I think the line is fetch, play Wall of Omens, see what we draw. Because we could draw Kiki or chord with this. And then if this misses, you Yorion and it breaks that up. No, if I Yorion, my opponent just does it in response to me targeting their thing, right? I guess I could Yorion. The problem with Yorioning is I've already used 2 Solitudes. Then Skyclave takes the Angel. No, they do it in response to my Skyclave trigger targeting the Eternal Witness. Because that's how instant speed cards in the stack works. Okay, Ephemerate here lets us be interactive, so that's great. I can't cast either of my other cards, though. Because this makes me discard these 2, and this taps me out. So they're chording for 4. And now the question is, do I Ephemerate, exile the Eternal Witness, or do I Ephemerate, exile the Restoration Angel? Hitting the Eternal Witness stops them from getting the Chord of Calling back. However, leaving them the Restoration Angel means that I could get combo killed next turn. The issue is that leaving them the Witness and getting them back the Chord means we're right back in the same spot next turn, right? Like, I'm not close to killing my opponent here, and they're going to be getting a 4/4 when I Ephemerate. Resto's the bigger threat with the sword, kinda. Like I'm gonna have my Restoration Needle is gonna be untapped so I can block them, and then I get to Yori next turn. So like if they're equipping the sword, I think the play to win line. I think the play to win line is Exile the Eternal Witness. So we could die this turn, but I think this is the correct play. Hopefully this is just equip sword attack. Yeah. That's not no. I would encourage you to. You're not. I'm just gonna time you out because you're doubling down on not understanding how magic works. I don't know why it's worth discussing that line, Limb Nursery, because it's the wrong line. We just went over why it's the wrong line. Okay, so Ephemerate, Skyclave Apparition. I'm gonna exile the Sword of Fire and Ice, and then I'm gonna Yorion the Skyclave Apparition, exile the Restoration Angel. Funness conceded. Have you ever considered cheating? I mean, it's a strong line. Unfortunately, Magic Online doesn't want us to do it. This is probably a Teferi Time Raveler matchup, right? I'm gonna sigh a little as I say that because I hate the words that are coming out of my mouth, but the mirror is probably a Teferi Time Raveler matchup, right? Like there's a lot of back and forth interaction, generally speaking. I mean, they're boarding in 4 Tefris as well, I would assume. Hey, Kelsey Isaac, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I think I missed that one a few minutes ago. I apologize. It was very, very focused. Possibly Noble, thanks for the follow. It is really good versus Ephemerate, yep. Cut the goose. Need 2 more trims here. Yeah, you just don't get to rebound is how it interacts with Teferi is exactly correct. So for people that haven't played against this card for a while, the easiest way to know if something works while Teferi is out, you ask yourself, is rebounding my spell fun? And if the answer is yes, doing something is fun, then no, you are not allowed to do it while Teferi Time Raveler is in play for your opponent. It's just the simplest flowchart you can put together is the thing you're asking about doing fun. If the answer is yes, then you can't do it because Teferi's in play. Hey, 2 more cuts, chat. What are the cuts? What are the cuts? Is it crazy to trim Seasoned Pyromancer here? It does grind okay. It might just be some Wall of Blossoms. What if I coward split it and just do that? And I am feeling like a little bit like a coward. I think the Prince isn't actively good, but it's great in a lot of spots with Chord of Calling. I guess maybe you could make the argument we should get rid of Prince if we're expecting our opponent to be on a bunch of Teferi Time Ravelers. I could see that being the case. Okie doke. We'll keep. Are they just like also going to have a turn 2 Teferi? Be kind of funny. Feeding pool. I think I'm naming red with this. They have blue, white. Well, I guess if they have turn 2 Teferi, I won't have turn 2 Teferi because I'll bounce my Utopia Sprawl. Being on the play is busted, chat. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Feels magic, man. I'm grab my Jeskai Triome here. Did you forget to practice your Darrells? Well, we won. This is game 2. We won game 1. Oh, I guess if I named white... Nah, I'm playing this anyways, right? It's fine. I want to reveal Batterskull. Yep. So they can just cast Batterskull next turn. So we're definitely casting Birds of Paradise. What's our second thing? It's probably Skyclave Apparition, right? What if I Skyclave the Stoneforge so they have to cast Batterskull and then I can Teferi bounce the Germ token? Is probably the sequence. They drew their noodle. Okay, so 6. What if I just Chord for Resto, Skyclave, Blink, Eat Teferi? I think is the play. They could have a Solitude here. They have Solitude Ephemerate we get kind of got. This could be reason to play my Teferi out first, to play around this. Okay, no Ephemerate means we're in an okay-ish spot. Because it means my Restoration Angel can pressure their Teferi next turn. They're just bouncing this. Sure, they think they probably need to hit a land. They missed their land drop last turn. They're playing Nimble Pilferer. That's probably pretty good, huh? Ramps you, technically. Could just pass, right? It could be right to Solitude the Pyromancer proactively so they can't resto it. Windswept Heath, sure. There are a lot of bangers in their graveyard here, so for them to fetch up that one. I think we just pay mana for this. And then our lifelink gets to block a 1/1, and we take a wash on damage. And they know about our Restoration Angel because they bounced it with Teferi last turn. Okay. Teferi bounced my Eternal Witness is pretty good. So, do I Teferi bounce their Wall of Blossom so I can kill their Teferi? That's probably the play, right? Yeah, this deck just generates insanely good games of Magic, Lampton. Just like the number of micro decisions you get to make every single match and game on average is just like really rewarding. Sure, I'm gonna pick Teferi back up. Deal. So now, in response to this Teferi, I think we just like void their board, right? We just like Solitude, pitch Omnath, resto the Solitude, exile the 2/2, and then we can pressure their Planeswalker out as well. I guess that leaves us a little soft to being comboed. That probably leaves us too soft to being comboed. I'm just going to resto my Solitude in response and exile their Eternal Witness. And they can't Solitude in response here because I have Time Raveler in play. They're currently playing Hearthstone. All right, full Hearthstone mode engage. Oh, you gave me my Restoration Angel back. That's so nice of you. Okay. Yeah. So now they get to kill my Teferi. Yep, he's dead. You got him. Okay, so blue, green, white. Cast Omnath. So the quarter of your exit dose, I appreciate it. And then I can technically Solitude again this turn, but they don't really have anything worth exiling, right? So I think I just Restoration Angel. I guess I didn't need to shock there. Probably doesn't matter, though. All right. Do 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 do. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Tefru is supposed to protect us from the Gandalfs, chat. Now he's here. Now he's here doing terrible things to fellow Kiki Chord players. All right, well, we'll force them to make a play. So I have 7 mana left over after this. And they know I have a copy of Solitude in hand. So cast Solitude. Exile your Resto. Attack your Teferi. And I think I just cashed this in to draw a card. Go. Mar, thanks for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm actually down on clock because we've had so many choices to make in this game. So I apologize to anybody if I miss subs or resubs or comments. I'm going to try and stay focused here. Ooh, punish for tapping my Birds of Paradise. That's rough. Wow. Okay, yeah, if they have another Solitude, we could be in trouble here. Eternal Witness. I mean, the correct play is pick my blue-white friend back up, right? And just keep them playing Hearthstone. Yeah. Yeah, the correct play is keep them playing Hearthstone. Man, what an incredible it's just the number of, I feel like the number of decisions I made in that match was probably higher than the number of decisions I make in like 3 or 4 hours of Standard or Historic. There's just, this is why I spent many years playing this deck, chat. There's so many things to be doing every single turn, so many permutations. Gengarade, thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. Well, to be fair, the opponent still had Stoneforge Mystic in their deck. No, yeah, I cut that. So the previous opponent we just played is actually the Kiki Chord deck we started with last week. And I didn't like Stoneforge last time we played this archetype, but I gave it a try because they were the one person who had been playing it and doing well, and they keep playing Stoneforge. I'm just not impressed with Stoneforge in this deck. Just does not feel like where I want to be. Like, I don't feel like it helps me win matches that we're not already winning. Yes, I also added extra lands, and the opponent came up short on lands in the game that we played. Another Sky Noodle Mirror. We'll see if it's another Kiki Chord Mirror, if there's something else. Or there are a few different Yori decks in this format. Pretty sure we just Skyclave their acceleration here, since we're on the play. It feels like home that we've been playing Modern for a week, And the things I've been doing to deck lists after we finish playing them is cutting Jace the Mind Sculptor and Stoneforge Mystic. It really feels like it's on character for me to be doing both of those things as someone who advocated for them being unbanned for a long time on the basis that they likely wouldn't be good enough. Najalopes, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a ton of great people making a ton of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. Thanks for the follow draft. Rain Maggot. Oh god, they're gonna process us next turn, chat. It's gonna be real sad. So it looks like the opponent is probably Abzan Blink. If we can avoid a Wasteland Strangler here, we'll be in an okay spot. If we get Wasteland Strangler, we're probably dead. I need my Ephemerate, chat. I need my Ephemerate. Cam on top, thanks for the follow. If you folks are new to the channel and you enjoy modern content, if you're not familiar with me, I used to play a ton of modern, but I kind of fell out of the format. Modern Horizons 1 put the format in a spot that I wasn't a huge fan of. We dipped back in with Modern Horizons 2, and I've really been enjoying it. I do a lot of Magic Arena content on this channel as well, but we're going to be starting each of my streams 4 to 5 days a week with the Modern League. I have a YouTube channel where I upload everything that I stream. So if you want to catch a modern deck there several times per week, it's a great place to be looking for content. Okay, so do I just resto my Skyclave now? This is on black. I think we want to resto at sorcery speed, huh? I guess I could do it during their upkeep. Am I expecting counterspells out of them? Hey, thanks for the tip, Birdian. For black-green infect, sounds good. I'd be happy to take a crack at that. Strip mine them? No, I want to get my Ephemerate back, so that way we can then do more stuff. The question is, am I doing it during their upkeep, or am I doing it now? I think I'm doing it on their... You want to do it now? What are we playing around by doing it now? Can anybody tell me that? Answer that question. Like, what, just like random counterspells? I guess they could have random counterspells. I don't know what their deck is doing. This is worse into a removal spell. Alright, they didn't have the removal spell. Good job. A long-time lurker, and you're my favorite Magic streamer. Keep up the fantastic work. Thanks for the third of the year, Epsilon. I really appreciate it. Math Teacher Gaming, thanks for the 33 months. Oh, they're an Enchantress deck. Sure. Well, I mean... I think we draw the noodle here, right? Honestly, is it crazy to just like Solitude? I think we're casting Solitude as a fair spell. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just Ephemerate the resto and get rid of the hand here. This deck is basically a clinic. Like, one of the questions people have been asking me, Jeff, is Kiki-Jiki good or do you just love it? Is Kiki-Jiki good now or is it just that you love the deck? And I think the answer to that question is just yes. Like, this deck is better than it used to be because of Skyclave Apparition and Solitude, but I also just love the deck. Curse Totems. Curse Totem gets exiled by Skyclave, right? Oh yeah, Yorion makes it better too. There are a number of cards that have made this deck better than it previously was. And then we'll give them a 2/2 and take their Utopia Sprawl here. No, I think that it's definitely better in the current format. This deck's always been good into fair formats. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures lose all abilities. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this. That's cute. That's adorable. Oh wait, this means they don't get a token, right? Deal. Wait, Judge, this stops Wall of Blossoms from working, right? So I should pass? Wall of Blossoms currently is an 0-4 with no text, right? Am I understanding that correctly? Don't play anything. Got it. We get nothing! Good day, sir. Yeah, I think we just like make a food with the goose here, right? Zur the Enchanter. Oh no, chat. You ever get that sinking feeling when you realize you're the bad guy? Definitely just had that pit in the stomach that lets me know I'm the bad man. I'm the bad man. We are definitely not the hero of this story. So opponent has a sky noodle of their own if they want. Skyclave Apparition is coming for their memes for sure. Sometimes heroes have to fight. That's true. Batman and Superman don't always get along. It's probably because Batman's a selfish lover. I'm still not used to seeing this many good white cards released this quickly, right? Oh, they get to blink the Spreading Seas too. That's cute. You don't have enough green, right? Wait, if I Skyclave this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Right? Yeah, that math checks out. All right, we're gonna go for it. We haven't gotten our Freaky Kiki on yet today. No! You didn't even let me put my Freaky Kiki into play. Read. I'm supposed to board him in, aren't I? I'm supposed to board him in. I feel like scum every time I board him in, chat, but it's correct. It's definitely optimal. Oh, now we're definitely the village. Wee woo. Teferi is definitely a cop. He is here to make sure that you are not going to have a good time. What am I trimming? Need some cuts, chat. Is Omnath a card that I want in this matchup? I guess it's a little grindy. I'm gonna trim the second one. Charming Prince. They're pretty slow and fair. We could trim a ramp spell. Cut cords or winning without the combo. Nah, cord's just a good utility card. Like, that's why this deck is good, right? Like, this deck is good even when cord's not a combo card. You're right that we're going to play Fair Magic more often than not. But cord is still good. Oh, you know what? Am I supposed to cut my Utopia Sprawls because Spreading Seas kill them? Yeah, if there's a game 3 where we're on the play, I'm going to cut the Utopia Sprawls because Spreading Seas kills them. See, it needs another red source, but it's like, fine. So it's going to fetch Jeskai Triome. It was a risky click, chat. I didn't zoom in. If we wanted to, are we allowed to not play Yorion and make our deck 60 cards separate? You are not. The rules of Magic the Gathering state that you have to have 15 or fewer cards in your sideboard for the post-board games, and you have to have 60 or more cards in your main deck. See, chat, I don't have to feel bad. They're also a cop. There are no heroes here, chat. Only villains. Only villains remain. I mean, this card's really good. If your deck can cast this card, you should probably be playing it. Chat, if there is one piece of advice you walk away from my streams with, it should be play more lands. I don't know how many lands this opponent is playing, but it's probably 1 or 2 too few. All right. Oh, they're getting an Omnath. Cute. Yikes. This is a lot of mana. Maybe they had the land last turn and they were holding it for the Omnath. That could have very well been the case. They had like one land and they wanted to hold the Prismatic Vista for this line. Okay, they drew their noodle. So what am I doing? They drew Yorion. I can Chord for 4, which also means I can Chord for 3. What if I... Yeah, what if we Apparition Ephemerate? I can't recast the Ephemerate next turn because of their Teferi. But I think that's still the line. Oh, I need a green source here, right? No, I have the Scavenging Ooze. This is fine. Ooh, I could just Apparition their Teferi. That's a good point. Do we do that? That leaves them a 3/3. That means my Teferi's going to die. I guess my Teferi's probably dying anyways, huh? Yeah, that's probably right. My hand's pretty decent, right? So like even if they kill this, we can be in an okay spot. And if they find a way to kill my Skyclave so I can't Ephemerate it next turn, I'll get to Ephemerate the Wall of Omens. Yeah, I couldn't do fancy trigger on the stack shenanigans, the 9 and the 3/3 because their Teferi was making us play Hearthstone. Ganja Sensei, I think I might have missed your 29 months. If I did, I'm sorry. If I didn't, thank you again. Well, shit. It's like worst case scenario. They both turned off our Ephemerate and got rid of our Skyclave Apparition. Okay, well. Well, you can't take a token with Skyclave. What I can do is Skyclave their 1/2 and then blink Skyclave the Teferi and then also play Wall of Omens. I think is the line. Oh, I didn't need to fetch to do that, did I? Okay, I just big time miscounted. Could have fetched a shock land. And that fetch could really mess me up here too. Because what's it called? I could potentially get Path Exiled again this game, and then I won't have a basic. Pretty big mistake here on my part. I guess this lets me eat something with the Scavenging Ooze. So it's not all bad, I guess. Alright, and that was tapped, so we're not getting pathed right now. And then our own Teferi is a decent draw here because it'll get to bounce one of their tokens for value. Is this lethal? Might be close to it. Hello, baby girl.
They stuck me 3 times.
Oh, you got all your shots?
Mommy, help me down.
Oh, it's okay. You seem happy now.
2 band-aids.
Yeah, you got 2 band-aids. You're a big girl. She's over a year old, chat. I heard that burp, little pig. Ooh, that's a good line. If I would have drawn with the wall first, which was optimal, I would have hit Teferi, and then I would have bounced a token. Then we could have had Skyclave for something else later. We Skyclaving my wall here. Oh, I forgot to... I'm gonna blame Christy. I'm gonna blame the girls on missing gaining my life with Scavenging Ooze. Love you, baby girl. We were dead anyways, though, right?
Dad misplayed.
I think we're dead anyways. It's 4, 7, 9. Yeah, it doesn't matter. All right, so if I would have walled first, I would have been in a better spot because we would have taken a token on a play. I think I'm happy with how I boarded. I don't think I want Lightning Helix. The opponent just had Teferi on the play, so we just like got out tempoed. Oh, I'm gonna cut the Utopia Sprawls, I said, right? Yeah, let's do that. Helix helps clean up opposing Teferis too. Christy took Jacob and Declan with her to her checkup, her doctor's checkup this morning for her 1 year. And when Christy told Jacob that they were going to the doctor's office, Jacob's first question was, does that mean I can get my shot for the virus? Just like, oh, you poor smart kid. Not quite yet. It's good to know. It's good to know that he has a better handle on the pandemic than the average conservative, though. Raised my children to be bright lads and lasses. There's only Kiki Chord mirror? No, our opponent's playing 4-color Zur. Why would I give my little ones the vaccine? Well, you see, once the vaccine is approved for use with children, we'll get the vaccine for them because I'd prefer my children not to get COVID or experience the lasting effects of COVID should they experience it. Because that's the safe and responsible thing to do. If you're eligible to get a vaccine and one's available to you, you should get one. Huh? I think we're definitely playing Pyromancer this turn, right? On children versus adults, you're right. They are waiting to fully understand that, Neil. That's why it's not currently approved for children younger than 12, because they've only run test groups with children as young as 12. And they haven't had a chance to study it yet. Which is why my children as young as 8 haven't gotten it, because the current medical guidance is for them not to get it. That is true. The biggest downside to vaccines is vaccines directly cause adults, and I've met a lot of really shitty adults. It is the single worst thing about vaccines. They have been proven to cause adults. Is Control in Jeff's play queue? We're almost done with Control. We completed the main storyline. We're mostly done with the first DLC, and we're going to finish the first DLC and play the second one this afternoon. Started that one last week. Well, I guess we're just doing this again. I think I want a token. I think I'm going to bin the extra Pyromancer here. Well, you know. You're concerned as a parent as the long-term effects of having it best. So here's my question to you as a logical person that has sound scientific and mathematical background in reasoning. Why are you more concerned about potentially non-existent side effects from a vaccine that millions of people have had at this point on your child, but you're not concerned about your child getting COVID and having the long-term lasting impacts of that? That would be my question to you. So, as with most things in life, it is a very simple game theory calculation that you're right, there's a small non-zero chance that there could be things from that, but also like there's definitely a chance that things are going to happen long-term from getting COVID. Am I metagaming life right now? I'm always metagaming life, chat. Always metagaming life. But I like a smoothie. I would love a smoothie. My wife is so great, chat. The green enchantment they just played is an assault formation, which makes their Zers attack for 4, which is super cute. Like, as a general reminder, like, children, even before the plague, for people that don't have children, I regularly referred to my children as my lovely tiny plague carriers. We weren't sick for the entirety of the pandemic, but we started going to parks, and my kids are going to daycare to play with other kids and get back into social interaction 2 days a week. And like less than 2 weeks into doing that, I had my first cold for the first time in almost 18 months. Like, if your children are going out and going to school, and like the FDA and other scientific places have said that like there's a vaccine that's ready and reasonable for kids, you should get it for your kids. Because your kids are, if COVID is still out there, and it's going to be, look at the vaccination rates in a lot of places, especially if you live in the South, like, they're going to have a good chance of getting it. Protect your children and those around them. Like, the kids put everything in. Like, I can't tell you how many times I walk up to even my 6 and 7-year-old. It's like, dude, why are you chewing on your fingers? Like, what? That can't possibly taste good. Get your fingers out of your mouth, please. It's just like, it's just like, that's just how kids are, right? Like, all right, what are we doing here? I think we're casting Seasoned Pyromancer, and I think I'm ditching 2 lands and seeing where we end up at. Me sitting here chewing on my fingers right now, feeling kind of awkward, as you should. As you should. Kids are gross. I agree. I love my children. They are wonderful, but they are disgusting little filthy plague creatures. All right. And then we play Wall of Blossoms. So this is a tough decision point. Do I play Wall of Blossoms hoping to cantrip into something useful? Or do I play untapped land, draw Yorion, so I can Yorion the Solitude the Zur next turn? Like, I think I like drawing Noodle. Listen, I understood some vaccine hesitancy at the very start from people because they were emergency approvals, but like millions of people have had these things at this point. Like, they're not a problem. Any vaccine hesitancy at this point can't be founded in anything logical or reasonable. We're well past just base control groups that had them to start. Morning, Matt. All right, how scary is this, Zur? What are we getting here? Your 60-year-old mother is concerned about fertility issue. Well, correct. It's not logical, it's emotional. Okay, and they're getting on thin ice here, so... Oh, that works out for me, because now I can Pridemage the on thin ice and get my thing back still, right? So we'll still get to take their Zur off the table here. And this doesn't matter because Pridemage is an activated ability. So I can cast Pridemage here and then still kill the on thin ice and get this back next turn.
Which one do you want?
Which one's better? Which one do you want? I don't care.
I like them both. Why, you want to try them? Probably won't like this one. It's sour.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Ooh, it's a lot of bit sour.
Look at us. Look at us. We're cute with our smoothies. Now you gotta drink it.
All right, so now we pass. And then upkeep will destroy the on thin ice. Actually, end step will destroy the on thin ice because they're tapped out, right? Oh, they could have an Ephemerate. I think we play around Ephemerate and upkeep this. Love you, wifey. Because if they Ephemerate on my end of turn, they blink the Zur and then can attack with it. This way, if they're going to protect the Zur this turn with a blink or something, it can't attack. And then I can Yori in it next turn. What's a smoothie? It's just yogurt and fruit and other stuff blended up together. The difference between a smoothie and a shake is there's no ice cream in a smoothie. So smoothies are generally healthier. Generally. Am I still a vegetarian? I am. I'm 31, almost half of my life. Almost. I'm 30. I'm not 31 yet. 30. Almost half my life. Since the summer I was 17. Luris. Interesting. Wow. This is super rude. Holy crap. That's gross. So they just get to do this every turn? Okay, now I can Solitude in response. Wow, that's like disgusting though. This is match 3, I think. 2 or 3. 3, I think. Okay, so I gotta do this in response. And then they can dress down in response. If they have a removal spell in response, we're in trouble. I guess they could have a counter spell too. If they dress down, they don't get to take a card out of my hand though. I think it's like the Teferi for creature. That's a good way to put it. I have 5 mana. I also need to play a little bit faster here, because my opponent is up on clock. We are in game 3, so hopefully 7 minutes is going to be enough, but now their Brain Maggot doesn't do anything, right? Yeah, I don't know that the dress down was the correct play there. Feel like they punted that? Because the dress down's going to leave at end of turn. So this stops my card from rebounding, but it's not going to stop my Yorion here. And Yorion will get rid of the Lurrus. Opponent definitely should have led on Teferi. Oh, I should have made some tokens. That was a mistake. All right. Well, now we can do this. And exile Lurrus. Can do this. And then I don't quite want to do this yet. Or do this yet, because I have to discard the noodle. So we'll send these at Teferi. And send these at them. Oh, I guess if they have Path to Exile, I don't kill their Teferi now. Oh, I'm out of basics too. Yikes. Yeah. Woof. Huh? Yeah, the fact that I forgot to make tokens on their turn could easily cost us this game. Teferi being in play gives them a lot of maneuverability. All right, I'm minimizing chat for the rest of this game. I apologize. There's plenty of mods. I trust them. I trust them to make sure you all behave. Gonna take this hit, so I want to blink my walls with Yorion next turn. Okay, they drew their noodle. Huh? I think I just Yorion. Well, I guess I can force them to. I could force Teferi off the table here, huh? Do I just do that now? They have another removal spell I just got. I'm just gonna attack Teferi with both of these and see what they do. Because they throw their Noble Hierarch away, that seems fine with us. Oh, this makes me lose these creatures. Fuck. Oh, that was super sloppy. Oh shit. I forgot there was an assault formation there. Whale poop. We're getting sloppy because we're short on time. Draw with these first, so we get to decide of how we want to sculpt our hand. Little punished for not holding up a white for Ephemerate. I think our deck definitely could have won this. I'm probably going to lose this game, though. Between the Assault Formation punt last turn and missing the tokens the 2 turns prior to that, this Teferi is just a little much. I guess we could just, like, peel a Chord of Calling and kill them next turn, too, though, so maybe we'll do that. I get a number of draws towards it. An auto pass here. They have Teferi out. I get a lot of draws at Kiki and Chord here. We're 33 cards into my deck without Kiki or Chord. So let's start with Ephemerate on this. And then I can do this and draw a Chord of Calling. And then I don't have enough green creatures to resto Chord of Calling. I can Sunbaked Canyon into it, though. Path Theriorian. Oh. Yeah. Man, earlier I should have played this game slightly better. Really, really close set. Little unfortunate that we're 39 cards into my deck without a Chord of Calling or a Kiki-Jiki, but also, like, could have made better decisions. Am I dead? I don't think so, right? This gives 3 mana for 1 extra toughness. I think I jump block here. I've got 2 restos in hand. Technically still have lethal in play. Oh, this is going to gain them life, sure. We went to get, like, solitary confinement. Okay, well, things just got more complicated. This probably means I can't win because of clock. We'll wait and see what we draw next turn, I guess, but... Reflector Mage my noodle? Sure. Oh, I have this on rebound. Okay. This... I think I just draw with Wall of Blossoms to start, see where we end up at. Okay, so there's a Chord of Calling. So short of mana of what I want to do. I think I just land pass. These are all instants. Okay, so I'm gonna chord in response for 3. Grab Knight of Autumn. Destroy this. I wanted to kill the Solitary Confinement before the Zur the Enchanter trigger resolves because there's a good chance they have another Sterling Grove in their deck. It's pretty gross. Can't think, gotta click. They're debating if they want to bounce the Seasoned Pyromancer before I can blink it. Might be wrong to blink the Teferi. Draw with Wall first. Just gonna chump block this token. Honestly, they're probably just supposed to run my clock down. I don't know if there's a land in my deck that this gets. Let's find out. There's not. Yikes. Alright, so... Bird of Paradise. Attack with Noodle. Yeah, I don't think we could lose this game with infinite time on our clock, but we unfortunately just don't have infinite time on our clock, which is impressive considering like all of the mistakes I made this set. Like I made a lot of mistakes this game. So we could still theoretically kill them next turn, right? We start with Skyclave Apparition on the Seal of Removal, and then we resto Seasoned Pyromancer and draw a Chord of Calling. And this is their only piece of interaction, because I have Teferi Time Raveler in play. Makes me click on the 2 cards. Yeah, we're dead. We're dead to clock. That's sad. That's really sad. All right. Well, again, like records don't really matter. We lose a couple of fun bucks. We're just like, man, is it wild that like there are 26 cards left in my deck, and three of them are Chord of Calling. Also, talking about Moto and RAM, we're up to 2 gigabytes of RAM. So you can also tell that part of the reason why I was down on clock here was because Magic Online started running much more slowly. I'll probably file for comp for this, in fact, because there's video of me sitting here lagging and it running slowly because it's at 2 fucking gigs of RAM. That's about the time where the application needs to get taken out back and reloaded. So kind of a frustrating end to an otherwise really interesting match. This deck does continue to produce a lot of really great games of Magic, though. It's also impressive that like I made a ton of small mistakes in that set that like gave my opponent extra edges towards staying in that game, and still, if I would have had another 2 minutes on my clock, we would have likely won. So we're 2-1 in the league. Let's head into our 4th round here. Happy with the deck, not super happy with my play, but eh. Where's my preview window, Magic Online? Where is my card preview window, Magic Online? Nocti, thanks for the 16 months, and Shellers, thanks for the 2.5 years. There's no... I'm supposed to have a card preview window. Where is my card preview window, Magic Online? Go into my settings. Thanks for checking out the sponsor, Blake. I mean, it was there 30 seconds ago. I'm aware of where it exists. I just restarted Magic Online, and now suddenly it's not there. Thanks for the sub-gift, Blake. And I can't share my screen while I'm going through my settings because Magic Online has my flipping address in my settings. So if I click on the wrong thing, it's real easy to get doxxed. So let me try and figure out where this thing's supposed to be. It literally just unchecked one of my settings. It was in fact unchecked. We found it. We've now been playing Kiki-Jiki for 2 hours, so I apologize to the people that looked at my schedule and are here for Magic Online, Magic Arena starting. I'm gonna finish my Kiki-Jiki League because this deck is way more interesting than getting memory lapsed a bunch. I promise we're gonna get memory lapse for a little while, very shortly. By very shortly, I mean possibly another hour. But we're gonna finish this league. Might have another hour or so of Moto though. So if you're just waiting for Arena, it's gonna be a little bit. Ugh. Did you see Texas is now having power grid issues because it's too hot? Yes, and both of the Texas senators are going to vote against Biden's infrastructure plan that would help them fix issues like that because, you know, many Texans vote against their own best interests, like many Republicans constantly do. I think questions like, should we sub memory lapse for remand, are stupid questions that waste my time because it's not something that's going to happen. Magic Online's been Magic Online, but Modern's been great this morning, so. This isn't even a Magic card, chat. What is this? Can I boom for a minute here? Boom, boom, boom. Boomeroo. I'll put this on green, and then we'll, like, fetch Plains, cast Eternal Witness, pick my fetch line back up next turn. But they don't have a second land. It's really good for us. Yes, yeah, I believe that is a secret layer basic. Do they have a first? That's true. Yeah, I take Elves of Deck Submission, Nocti. And yeah, we've played a bunch of different things in Modern already. We are not a Kiki-Jiki only stream. We are a minimum of 1 Kiki-Jiki league per week stream. But I will also accept things that are not Kiki-Jiki as submissions. I'm planning to do 1 Modern league at the start of every stream for the foreseeable future. I just play Wall of Omens, huh? Untapped work with MTGO. It does not. I try to mouse over cards so they appear in the bottom right as we play them and my opponents play them, but in general, you probably just need to have a thing up on another browser to be able to understand what's going on. All right, so my opponent's going to get combo killed next turn. Chord of Calling fetches Restoration Angel, which bounces Eternal Witness and returns Chord of Calling to my hand, and then we fetch Kiki-Jiki with it next turn and kill them. So I assume their Humans deck isn't playing Path to Exile, but even if they are, we're still in a good spot, so. Definitely YOLOing. Oh, I actually have the mana to, Ephemerate to protect it too, right? And we're going to put a stop on my upkeep because I don't want to draw Kiki-Jiki because I can't currently make triple red. So on the off chance that we're really unlucky and draw our one Kiki-Jiki in my 80 card deck, I would like to do this during my upkeep. Play around the bad variants, chat. Don't get got. And again, even if they have something like a Path or a Solitude or a Dismember or something here, I have an Ephemerate to beat one piece of interaction. So for people that aren't old Magic boomers, Kiki-Jiki with Restoration Angel makes infinite Restoration Angels. So Restoration Angel token blinks Kiki-Jiki. Kiki-Jiki has haste. We go ahead and blink it again. Listen, as someone who's played probably 4 digits worth of matches with this archetype, you draw the Kiki-Jiki there enough times to make sure it doesn't happen to you in the future, okay? You're just like, let's just make sure that one doesn't happen today, huh? I probably don't need Collector Ouphe. I was gonna say they're probably an Aether Vial deck, which could make Collector Ouphe okay, but like I've got Skyclave and Knight of Autumn for that. The fact that there are enough red mana to cast Meatball in this deck's a sin. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the big reason why you can cast Kiki is because Seasoned Pyromancer is just so good, and you want to be able to... The mana pips to make red on 3 is very similar to red on 5. Any interest in watching Nintendo Direct later? So I have an interest in watching it, but I also have a lot of content I want to make this week, and I have to take Thursday and Friday off, so I'll probably just catch the replays. So we'll not be watching that live on stream. Understand people will tune out to go watch that if that's something they're interested in, but a lot of Magic, and I want to finish Control up today. Does the combo always involve Restoration Angel? Not always. At various points, Kiki also combos with like Deceiver Exarch and Pestermite and Village Bellringer. I think we'll keep this hand. Like, obviously doesn't have an accelerant on one, but like wall on 2, wall on 3 is like pretty decent against the aggro deck. Yeah, you're allowed to co-stream it. I just don't have enough hours in the day, chat. There's so many decks to play in so little time. Like that, chat, I didn't even mute for the slurping. Did RTX voice get it, though? That does not. Look at that. I had to know if the RTX voice hit it or not. We'll mute in the future. Free tier 3 subs preview. See, chat, sometimes you draw Kiki-Jiki. I kept another one-lander. I guess they have Vile this time in Noble Hierarch. So, this league actually might go long enough that we don't do historic deck voting today. I might make a liar out of my stream title. Yeah, we've talked. If you just must not pay attention to the stream too often, Hidden Flame, where you've missed all the times we talked about it. But we've talked about expressive iteration a lot. for the 5 months, Silver Oak. Welcome back. Yeah, expressive iteration should definitely be on the list of these are cards that are potentially too good. Okay, so that's actually a decent draw. I think we do this and we fetch Steam Vents. Sorry, someone's Steam Vents. We fetch Stomping Ground. And then they named Chord of Calling. That's fine because we drew Kiki-Jiki here. We'll put this on here, name red. And then we'll go red, 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 and we'll Seasoned Pyromancer. And we'll ditch Chord of Calling and Wall of Blossoms, make some chump blockers. And then next turn, we can copy the Pyromancer or blink it and make more blockers. And then the following turn, we can combo them. Yeah, they're not. It's not a 100% played card. You are correct. Imperial Recruiter is going to get another Meddling Mage. This could get another Meddling Mage. Seems pretty good in their deck. If this gets Meddling Mage, we really want to draw a another Thalia's Lieutenant. Okay, they're trying to kill us. We really want to draw a Skyclave Apparition would be nice. It's scary. Thanks for the sub gift. Morning and welcome. I think we're going to 6. We'll go chump, chump. I have no cards in hand. So I just need to survive. So if I resto blink this, I get 2 chump blockers, and then they draw a blank and we kill them. That's the line, right? I could get greedy and I could ephemerate the Pyromancer. That gives me enough blockers, right? So we go token chump here, this blocks here, resto blocks here, this blocks here, we take 3. Yeah, that's the line. All right, we'll pass here. I could also cast Kiki-Jiki. That technically gives me an extra blocker. No, it's the same amount of blockers, right? Because Kiki-Jiki isn't blocking and Resto's blocking. Okay, so if they're chop cards at brick here, we kill them next turn. Okay. So we resto. And then if I only make 1 token here, do we die? We'd go chump, 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 block here, take exactly 5. I think I'm supposed to risk it. I think I'm supposed to do this, discard these. Yeah, and now they could name Ephemerate to stop it from recasting. Now they named Kiki-Jiki. That's smart. I think we hold Kiki in hand, right? I think we ditch the bird and the Windswept Heath here. Because our out is the combo. And you're dead. Oh, wait, did I miss lethal last turn? Shh. Shh. I'm not used to these cards being free, chat. I'm not used to these cards being free. Okay, I'm aware. I got there before someone posted it in chat, okay? I would like the record to reflect that I got there before someone posted it in chat. We also could have drawn Yorion and Ephemerate. So obviously I could have Solituded for free, exiled the mage, and then Kiki-Jiki. Okay, listen. The number one sign of a good deck is that an absolute hamburglar meatball like myself can play it and mess it up constantly and still win games. So I'm confident this deck is good at this point. Nice, Smith. Thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Opponent playing a Lurrus deck, it looks like, because they're waiting to reveal their companion. Solitude is absurd. It's very, very, very good. Solitude helped fix a lot of the problems this archetype had. Which was that you didn't have enough cheap interaction. And that playing cheap interaction often felt awkward to do. They don't give us something to Skyclave on one, we'll just draw a noodle. They give us something to Skyclave. Alright, sweet. I'm excited to play this matchup, actually. Winning the die roll here is huge, obviously. Lurrus, that one, opponent. What's going on, Maddie? Love you too. Scale of 1 to dead, where's the Skyclave at? No, we've not played against a single Tron land in any of the leagues that we've played. It's been fucking great. Do I just chill? I'm just gonna chill, actually. Finale of Devastation. No, you have Eternal Witness to get Kiki from your graveyard. Don't play bad cards like Finale. Finale's only good in decks like the Asmo deck that wanna get their free thing back. Since they didn't do anything, I'm just going to take the pass here because I have Resto plus Ephemerate here in a second. Obsidian Shardmaw. Oh, I didn't know that card exists. I'm playing, I think Avalanche Riders better because it's cheaper to chord for. I've got Avalanche Riders in my sideboard because it's cheaper to chord for. I've got two Alpine Moons and Avalanche Riders at the moment. Yeah, but that's like if you draw it, right? Like I'm not gonna play like I guess I could play 3 copies of it, but like yeah, I guess that's fair. Maybe it's worth playing 3 copies of. This makes our clock faster and requires them to have 2 pieces of interaction. We played against Yawgmoth combo the first match of the set. I think I would put a Linvala in our 75 to help that matchup, but I also think that matchup's pretty decent for us as is. We have a lot more interaction than they do. Agreed. They had the bolt we were playing around. Is Alpine Moon for the Tron matchup and the Urza Saga matchups. That sucks. Probably gonna die to this Niv Magus. Seven draw any spells this game. No, you're remembering correctly. They messed up and should have exiled their bolt. If you name Alpine Moon with Urza Saga, your opponent loses all of their... The Urza Saga dies. Yeah, taking them off white kills my Utopia Sprawl. So I think that's not a good play. My opponent just like not understanding how their deck works. Why are they not? Oh, they have Ground Rift. Got it. Okay, that's super lethal. I was really confused why they just like weren't exiling anything. They were working up to a Storm card. That makes sense. Magus of the Moon out. Collector Ouphe out. Birds of Paradise comes out against the Lava Dart deck. Qasali Pridemage comes out. And then that's enough cuts so we can just like slide Teferi Reveler of Fun in, right? It's a shame we didn't have a Solitude there. It's just like punish them going all in with their idiot. Opponent just had no respect for interaction, so getting to board in some extra interaction here should be good. Okay. More in Hufflepuff. Goose is kind of sweet against these red decks, because it's like it's a Dorko that if they kill it, it leaves a gain 3 behind, which is kind of sweet. Again, just gonna kill their 1-drop on 1. It is impossible, effectively, to watch basically any card game where you don't know the cards that are being played. It's true of Modern. It's true of... Oh, I should have named white with this, because I can't cast this now, right? That was a mistake. One thing I do have set up here is I can Solitude, pitch Skyclave, and Chord for Charming Prince to blink the Solitude in response to its evoke trigger. So you can pitch a card from your hand to cast this, but then it dies after its effect. And situations like this are why we added a Charming Prince to the deck, because it lets Chord of Calling effectively be like an Ephemerate / Restoration Angel in these situations. They didn't do anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a food here. And now we just drew Ephemerate. You'd love to see it. And we have enough interaction in this game that like the game going along definitely favors us. Snuggle Bear, thanks for the 25 months. Welcome back. And then when your opponent doesn't do anything in a spot like this, you just get to get your Chord Chain going. So we'll go ahead and chord for 3. Grab Eternal Witness, pick up Chord of Calling. So they have 5 cards in hand here. Really glad we boarded out Birds of Paradise. Are they going to kill my board? They have double Electrickery? Wow, that's gross. A little savage. Just gonna do this now. While they're tapped out. Damn it, Moto. I don't want them. I don't want them to be able to bolt my Solitude in response here. Seeds. All right, game 3 on the draw. I think I'm happy with how we boarded. Especially seeing how they boarded. See if we can get the 4-1. We're 3-1. For those of you just joining us, our 1 loss was because we timed out in a game that we were like 100% to win. I was playing a little bit too slowly. The opponent, it was just a long game too. The opponent had like sub 90 seconds on their clock. So I tried some royalty-free music the first day that we did Moto, and I ended up turning it off after like an hour because it just didn't feel right. Like when the sound design doesn't match what's going on the board, it's pretty jarring. Hey, Billy Zane, thanks for 27 months. Welcome back. Opponent kept 7. It's kind of tough to like mulligan. It's kind of tough to like mulligan a turn 1 acceleration, but the rest of this hand just like doesn't do anything, right? This hand at least like has a blocker. We'll bottom Eternal Witness. This will help us make up for the mulligan. Yeah, and if as a viewer at home, if you really want to play music while you watch, like put some music on for yourself. Can they kill us on turn 1? I feel like there's a chance we die next turn. And there's like a mixture of like double strikes and lava darts that kill us, maybe. Leonin Light Scribe, that's scary. I think I just make a bunch of blockers, right? Although I guess they have Groundswell to like make everything not block too. The opponent's archetype have a name. Yeah, like red-white prowess. Niv Magus combo. That's fair. The non-Niv Magus variations of their deck tend to be more popular because they're a little bit more consistent. Opponent's deck is like trading consistency for explosiveness, which is definitely better in a matchup like what we're playing. Oh, like Trickery makes my play bad. Yeah, that's true. Big true. So I want to draw a white card. Oh, I could have drawn Yorion. Yeah, see, this is Moto fucking sucks, chat. I talked about how I needed to put that up in the corner to remind myself of it earlier, and then it just wasn't up at the start of this game, and I just completely forgot about it. This was 100% the optimal line. But Moto likes to like hide things down over here in the abyss. Okay, we'll get used to that. I just like, we've only been playing Magic Online for a week, so things like that are still getting me. That's fine. We're probably still fine. We're like less busted of a spot than we could be, but yeah, them cycling the land is good for us for sure. Why didn't they eat it? They should just like always eat that, right? But it might be new to playing their deck as well. Yes, opponent's deck works with storm cards the way you want it to work. This is modern. It is. Yep. We Solitude, Exile Yorion, Exile Niv Magus, and then we'll Ephemerate the Solitude, Exile the Swift Spear, assuming they don't have a Bolt here. Yep. And then the Ephemerate comes back in and blinks this next turn, exiling the Leonin. And the game is basically done because we're at 7. Is Moto still super spendy to get into? I mean, this Kiki card deck only costs $820. So, like, you know, it depends on what your definition of super spendy is. And then it's only $10 to play the league. So for the low price of $830, you too could experience what we just experienced. Thanks for the 15 months, Mr. Ben and Watch. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. God, this deck is so good. I would like the record to reflect that I know I'm super biased in my opinion of this deck, but I think it's also worth pointing out that the issues that this archetype had have been addressed by new additions to the format. And so what do I mean by that? Well, the biggest issue this archetype always had was you needed to play interaction, but playing things like Path to Exile and Lightning Helix and Bolt always felt awkward because they weren't part of your proactive game plan, and they didn't work with your Chord of Callings. And Solitude and Skyclave Apparition are both just so absurd in terms of being interaction that, like, works with Chord of Calling and works with Restoration Angel and works with Ephemerate, and just, like, the whole room just gets tied together. Seasoned Pyromancer also works towards solving problems that this archetype has in that, you know, you flood out in your mana dork deck as the game goes along. This provides just really powerful card selection as you churn through, especially, again, in combination with Restoration Angel and Ephemerate. Yorion, like, you know, as someone who's registered up to 65 cards in their main deck before and, like, justified lots of different BS reasons for doing it, Yorion giving you an excuse to play 80 cards, it's $800 on Moto. In paper, it's probably no. $820 is the Moto price, chat. On paper, it's probably way more than that. $800 for the paper modern deck. Oh, my sweet summer child. It's $1,400. That sounds like a number I believe. $1,400 in paper. So, sideboard. The Yawgmoth core deck is one that felt like we were okay against, but I think I want a Chord Bullet for that matchup. And I think that Chord Bullet is probably Linvala. The, what's it called deck? The Arcbound Ravager Hardened Scales deck has been becoming popular again, and this also is good there. So I think I'd put a Linvala in the sideboard. Honestly, people are talking about, like, Tron cards. Like, I haven't played against Tron in so many leagues, chat. I think I'm getting close to just being like, let's punt the Tron matchup. And I think with that in mind, I'm cutting the Alpine Moon. And if you know you're gonna play against Tron, like there's a Tron player at your LGS, I don't know, cut Endurance or Teferi Time Raveler or like something to play more Alpine Moons. But I think Avalanche Rider and Alpine Moons are probably the right mix of anti-Tron cards. But I think that's the right change. I was super happy with this main deck. Cutting the Stoneforge Mystics felt super correct. I really just don't think that card fits well into this archetype. The kind of fair game plan that is trying to put forward doesn't mesh well. Like how this deck usually plays out in my experience, when you're winning fair games of Magic, they involve gumming the board up with walls and seasoned pyromancers, and then killing them in the air with Restoration Angels and now Yorions. And Batterskull really just doesn't play into that very well. And yeah. So I think the only change I want is just a Linvala. The rest of it was great. Adding another land felt good. The mana base felt really clean. I didn't have any issues in this league where I like went to fetch something that was like super sad. I didn't have a land to fetch, so second Temple Garden felt good. The Charming Prince came up at one point, so that was nice. Yeah, Solitude's not terrible into Tron either. I don't know. Like Ugin. The big question about Tron, honestly, is how many Ugins, if Tron's a deck, how many Ugins are they playing? You would like to buy the upcoming vote for some black-white vampires. I would love to start off with some black-white vampires today. Let's dive into Historic. Thank you very much for those generous bits, Xanthias. And let's play some black-white vampires. That's incredibly generous of you. If Black White Vamps is a decent showing, then I'm probably going to throw it up on the website. I think that deck's super reasonable.